Well, good afternoon. This is the initial meeting of the Veterans Council, Veterans Helping Veterans. And we'd like to introduce you to the group that we have here. I'm Marty Zickard. I'm a retired Air Force colonel. I'm presently the development officer for the Veterans Council. We have with us today my co-host, Telly Antona, and I will ask her a few questions shortly to get to know her, and the Director of Operations, Bruce Cady. Telly is a former Army, so tell me a little bit about your Army.
Wow. Is it my Army? Is it the United States Army?
No, this one was yours personally.
I'm going to date myself here. My Army career actually began on the delayed entry program. So my mom signed for me when I was 16.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, and I spent a summer, did a little basic, and 3 weeks after high school I went in, and the rest is history.
Wow. How long were you in?
6 years, 10 months, and 26 days.
Sounds just like me. 30 years, 5 months, 28 days.
That's awesome.
So how'd you end up in Vero?
Actually, my mother and father-in-law retired here, and the boys and I kind of agreed after our third vacation here that we would move to be next to their grandparents.
Oh, that's neat.
So
that's neat. I have grandkids that were here at one time.
Everybody left you.
They've all left me, except my son and his wife. They're still here.
They're good people. I know those people. They're good people.
Yeah. So they've been here. You belong to a group, as I do, as it turns out, called the Next Generation.
Yeah,
what is that all about?
Next Generation is a group of veterans who consist of veterans that are from 1990, served from 1990 to present. So essentially a group of younger vets, give or take.
Except me.
Well, I wouldn't say that, but and basically we're an organization that began about 3 years ago, and we do a lot of work in the community. As of right now, we are working on our Iraq-Afghanistan monument that's going to go on Veterans Memorial Island. So it's very exciting.
Cool. So what is your role in the Next Gen?
All kinds of stuff. We're all of us wear very different hats right now. There's about 75 of us that are active members. And so you can imagine with our growth in the community, I think we started out with about 40. And we went down to about 17, and now we're back up, to the meetings keep growing. But I am the XO. That's the executive officer. So basically my job is just to keep the peace during the meetings.
There you go. Kind of like the Sergeant at Arms.
Yes.
Very similar. Okay, well, let's go over to Bruce. Bruce is a former Marine. You never say ex, right?
You don't even say former, Marty. You can just call me a Marine, and I would accept that as a title. Thank you.
Always a Marine.
My youngest son spent 20 years in the Corps, so I understand a little bit of the mentality. So, Bruce, what is it that you actually do with us?
Well, like Telly said, I wear a number of different hats here in the veterans community. My full-time job is working for you at the Veterans Council and the Executive Board of the Veterans Council. I'm the Director of Operations, so that means that I handle the day-to-day operations of the Veterans Council. I help our volunteers do the great work that they do, help our reporting and our accounting, and just more of a coordinator. And I'm also a member of the Next Generation Veterans with Telly. So I spend a good bit of time during my off hours supporting different, cool and interesting things that we do as a younger veterans group in the community.
I think it's interesting.
Like this past weekend, for instance.
Yeah. So as Telly mentioned, our Next Generation Veterans, we do a lot of interesting different things. In my office, I met a veteran this past week that has a hole in his roof. And as we all know, sometimes insurance companies are hard to deal with. And he was he was struggling with the fact that his roof wasn't keeping the water out. So I reached out to my fellow veterans and Next Generation and was able to gather together a group of veterans that are young enough and of the desire to go do good in the community. And we jumped on ladders and climbed up on his roof. A shout out to John Harris, a Marine like myself, and Jason Cranman, Army. The three of us put a tarp on a veteran's home this weekend. And what I like to tell people is a day doesn't go by when one of our Next Generation veterans isn't out doing something in the community.
That's true.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
You know, the Saturday before, our good friend and fellow Next Generation veteran, Jimmy Lee Jackson, and a shout out to Jimmy. Jimmy organized a fundraiser ruck march. Marty, do you know what a ruck is?
I'm an Air Force guy. I don't have the foggiest idea. They said bring a backpack with food.
That's right. So in the Army, they call them ruck marches. That's a forced march that gets soldiers from point A to point B, and they carry whatever they need to have at point B on their back. In the Marine Corps, we call them humps, but it's the same difference. You put a heavy load on your back, and you go a distance. And so what Jimmy Lee did was he put together a ruck march that started at Riverside Park, at the future home of the Words from War, Iraq, Afghanistan monument. And in fact, you see a picture on the screen there of that ruck this past weekend, or 2 weekends ago. And we had over 100 participants. We were led by the American Legion 39 riders. Those are the cool veterans on motorcycles, the Harleys. So they led our column of over 100 people behind the American flag. We had 30 poolies or future recruits from the local Marine Corps recruiting station. They led the way behind the flag. And then we had older individuals like yourself, Marty.
Yes, we did. And let me tell you that having a bunch of 17-year-old guys leading the ruck march was not a lot of fun for those of us in the back.
How unfair.
There was a truck, thank goodness.
That's right, Mark. I'm not sure when you jumped on it, but when I went to check on the column, I would say about a quarter into it, I found Marty guarding the tailgate of Jason Patzer's pickup truck that was tailing.
Well, part of the problem was the moment that ruck started, it started raining.
Downpour.
And I mean, it wasn't just a light little rain. It was a downpour. I haven't been that wet in ages. I think since I went through survival school in the 60s.
I was so impressed by the fact that the civilians also endured that rain because it started out. I mean, it was just ridiculous. I had actually thought that we were going to hold off for that. But Jimmy did say if it ain't raining, we ain't training.
Exactly.
So,
Yeah. Now, again, let me remind you folks out there, that is a Marine and Army thing. Those of us that fly airplanes or sail in ships don't do that sort of thing.
and they stay in hotels.
Yes, they do. Nice hotels. Well, one of the things I was asked when I started telling people that we're going to do a radio show, the obvious question was, why a radio show? And the answer is really pretty simple when you think about it. We have a tendency in the military to think that everybody knows who we are, what we do, and they all know about Memorial Island, they all know about the Veterans Council.
That's true.
And as it turns out, nothing could be further from the truth. We got that vividly displayed when we had the Hurricane Irma came through. Thank God it missed us. But within a couple of days, I got a phone call from a home health care agency, and they said, there's a Korean War veteran who doesn't hear very well, doesn't see very well, and he lost his refrigerator, he lost his washing machine, and he's eating food out of a styrofoam box. That's his refrigerator. And fortunately, we know people around town. The whole area here is fantastic. John Jetson of Jetson Appliance said, come get a refrigerator. So I drove down to Fort Pierce, picked up a refrigerator, brought it back. A couple of the next-gen guys were there. put the refrigerator in. One of them actually knows what he's doing with a washing machine, fix the guy's washing machine. And your immediate thought is, how many more are out there like that? That people don't know, they know they exist maybe, but they don't know who to call. They don't know what to do. So that's one of the reasons. It's an awareness thing of who we are, what we do, and how do we help the people in the future that don't even know we exist. There's about 15 to 18,000 veterans in Indian River County.
Wow.
And we know maybe 3,000 that belong to the American Legions, and the Veterans Council itself is what, 24?
We're 25 now. We just
25.
added the American Legion 189 riders.
Just got the riders. They were so enthused from the Ruck March, they came back to join us.
That's right.
And so we know where some people are, but just because they're members doesn't mean they actually show up at things. So
that's true.
That's what one of our problems is, and we're trying to expand. We're getting better. The next gen, which interestingly enough, I happen to be a member of because I was on active duty in 1990. I was still 2 years from retirement, and so I kind of fit into that group, and it's kind of like raising your kids, grandkids in a lot of cases.
Oh, you're not that old.
Well, that's kind of the neat thing about the organization. Even though I've got gray hair, I'm considered a younger veteran here. But Marty served, I served, and my son is currently serving. So you have 3 generations represented. The neat thing is it gives us, and I think this is the Veterans Council in a whole, the older veterans invest in our younger veterans as mentors, as friends. They become like extended family, and I've seen that over the past 4 years as I've been involved, and I've benefited from it personally and professionally, from getting good advice from older veterans, and hopefully the younger veterans that I'm working with are being helped by the work that I'm doing. So it's really kind of neat dynamic within the veterans community at large here.
Yeah, it is. And out of all the organizations I've been all over Florida, Indian River County is unique, just flat unique. They do things on a spur of a moment and go, we're here to help, and it's the whole community. It's not just the veterans. It's the sheriff's office. It's the police department. It's people in Sebastian, the police department in Sebastian, and it's as a group you just kind of go, wow. We just had a young Navy man get killed about a month and a half ago, and his folks, he's from here. He graduated from high school from here, and I was Patrick Williamson, one of the next gen guys, myself and another Navy guy were sitting talking with his dad about it, and on a Monday, and his dad was going up to Melbourne at 10:30 at night, pick up a Delta flight to pick up his son. And he was going by himself. And we kind of said, nope, that's not going to happen. And you'll eventually meet Patrick Williamson. Patrick is one of the coolest guys I know. He's a young veteran, 100% disabled with PTSD, but all you have to do is point him in a direction and say, go get him, Tiger. By the time he was through with that, the first ones he called were Eric Flowers and the Sheriff's Department. They brought in their honor guard. Everybody was a volunteer. By the time they were through, they brought in the Jeep Club. They brought in the Legion Riders. And by the time they were through with this, we had a large group. And I'll tell you about it when we come back from the break.
House pest and termite free, as well as your landscape healthy and green. Call Compass Pest Control. Hi, this is Brian Combs, co-owner of Compass Pest Control. We are locally owned and operated with over 60 years of experience. We provide personalized, reliable service to all our clients. Call Compass at 772-925-1740 or visit our website, compasspest.com. That's Compass, PESTS.com.
Is an art at the Pomodoro Grill. La Cucina is a find of deliciously treasured recipes, rarely written down, but instead passed down from one generation to the next. Delicious seafood, chicken, veal, and pasta dishes. All entrees come with fresh baked house-made garlic knots and crisp green mixed salad. Brick oven pizza too. Also, Pomodoro Grill serves the traditional plates like meat lasagna, parmigiana, and more. Pomodoro Grill, VeroBeach.com on Cardinal Drive. It's time to call Easy Brew Coffee and Bottled Water Service and learn just how much you can save and how convenient it is to have your coffee and bottled water delivered right to your home or office. In addition to water coolers, Easy Brew offers individual bottles of water in 8 or 16-ounce bottles. No more lugging it home or dragging it into the office. Serving the Treasure Coast for over 2 decades, 2 letters, 1 simple name. Easy for Easy Brew. Visit e-zbrew.com or call 800-792-3285. Easy Brew.
Well, welcome back. Let me finish up this story real quick, and Bruce was up there with me, and he's got a different perspective. But the idea behind it is it was a group of people helping out a family that's a local family, and that's the important thing. The police department from Brevard was on board, and when the Delta flight came in, the captain of the Delta flight was a recently retired Air Force guy, and he had told the passengers what was happening, and the windows in the airliner were filled with people watching a hero coming home. And we had the honor guard there. They did a magnificent job. And coming home, Brevard Sheriff's Office had their motorcycle guys jump riding, everything. There was going to be no stopping on the way. We hit the county line. There were 6 cars lined up from the Indian River County Sheriff's Office. And what was so amazing was it was midnight, and there were people standing along the streets, standing along the side with their flag out, and their kids are out. I still get tears just thinking about it.
You know, and it's somebody asked me why would we do this, and why is this important? And the why is kind of close to me. My son, who's currently serving in the Navy, went to high school with John's sister, and about 2 months before John was killed, my son had coffee with John's sister out in Coronado.
Oh, really?
Right. So that just these random happenstances, and I tell you, this community is such a tight knit community. We have our children. Tilly, you got a couple of boys.
I do.
Right?
I do. And, I think it's important to mention that you were speaking about Indian River County and the support here. No one actually knew that I was a veteran. Even my kids did not know that I was a veteran until their father died. He was an Army Ranger. Once we moved to Indian River County, all that changed. I actually got in contact with the Veterans Council, which at the time the program director was Doy Demzik.
Right.
And it's been awesome ever since. The Veterans Council has helped 2 Christmases with my boys, especially our first year here. We didn't know anyone, and we didn't know of the resources, and the Veterans Council helped with that. So, of course, I would want to get involved.
Yep. Well, we've got some. Tell us, since you're the director of operations, tell us about some of the programs.
Well, the Veterans Council is an umbrella organization that represents 25 member organizations. And the way that I like to describe what we do is we find holes, gaps of coverage or gaps of support within the community as it relates to assisting veterans that need support. Vietnam Veterans of Indian River County, the American Legions have different outreach programs. And if they're doing it, we support them as they're doing it, but they're running those programs. We have 3 direct aid programs right now that are filling a hole within the community, a gap in services. The first program is our flagship, and that's called Upward American Veterans, UAV for short. And what the UAV program provides is emergency financial assistance to veterans. Many of our veterans, whether they're older veterans or even the younger veterans just returning from service, are on fixed incomes or certainly not wealthy. And if they have an anomaly in their finances where they have a big bill, a medical bill, something that's unforeseen, they may have issues paying their life-sustaining, their rent, their utilities. So the Upward American Veterans Program allows qualified veterans to apply for assistance. This past fiscal year, which just ended yesterday, we've provided over $50,000 just this year in direct aid financial assistance to veterans. We also run the Transportation Services program, which provides bus service to the VA medical facility in West Palm Beach, as well as the community-based outreach clinic, the VA clinic here in Vero Beach, and the VA clinic in Fort Pierce. Last year, we provided over 2,300 rides to veterans to their, to their life-enhancing medical appointments. And then the third direct aid program is our Veterans Helping Veterans program, which provides veteran homeowners assistance in fixing their homes, quality of life type things, rails for their bathtubs so that they're accessible. Or we had a Vietnam era veteran that has lung cancer, and he had mold in his bathroom. So the Veterans Helping Veterans program hired a veteran business to fix his shower and get rid of that mold and clean it up so he could take a shower and not injure himself. And we do employment assistance and any number of things. What I want is I want veterans to come into my office or call us up on the phone, identify a problem that they have, and we either have a program or we know the agency within the community that we can possibly refer them to, because we want to take care of our own.
Yep. Well, the collaboration is the big thing that we do. And what's so neat is when organizations come to us and say, we want to help. When Treasure Coast Human Resource Association, when Lady Anna Collins came in and said, we'd like to help converting the experience that you had in the military into civilian speak so we can do a resume for you. And we also would like to do a mock interview. And you just kind of go, really? And, the Veterans Helping Veterans. Yeah, where'd that come from? That's Impact 100.
That's right. I forgot to mention that. Thank you to the Impact 100 group. They've funded that this starting year for that program.
And we will have as the guest speaker next week when we do that is Carol Oates, Carol is running the program. And we expect this to really be an amazing program. We've went through 25,000 of the 50 that we're getting for this year already. Doing air conditioning, doing things that you just kind of go, wow, how cool is that? And that's the important thing, is that we're out there helping people, and that's why we're having a radio program.
Well, your face is out there quite a bit, Colonel Zickard. Can you just for the end of the show, just kind of tell me, I know that your role in the organization is director of, Development officer.
Fundraiser,
yes.
Folks, fundraiser.
And you are former Air Force, correct? Yep. Did you always want to be in the Air Force?
No, I wanted to play professional baseball.
Sweet.
That was what I started out doing. That's how I got in the Air Force.
So how'd that turn out for you?
Yeah, that didn't turn out. Joe Torre, if it wasn't for Joe Torre, I could have played professional baseball. That's my excuse anyway. Because I went to college at the same time he was playing at Eau Claire. We were in the Milwaukee Braves system at the time. And, I just ended up in the Air Force, and I kept getting promoted, and I had no other skills. So,
So, in all, it was a very rewarding thing for you.
It's been outstanding. My kids lived in 5 states, 2 foreign countries by the time they were 18.
Awesome.
And they look back at it now and go, geez, that's really cool. We were in Germany, and we did the ABC tour, another boring church, another boring castle. Now they look back at it and go, I've seen things that nobody else in this town has seen. So,
which is absolutely wonderful. And now you're retired, and we get to get you in the community. You're very well known in the community.
It's either
infamous.
Well known or notorious.
Infamous, I like to say.
Infamous. Well, we'll be back again next week. We're going to have Carol Oates in and to talk about Impact 100, what he's doing, what's going on. If you have any questions, you'll see our website. Get on the website, give Bruce a call. Bruce, what's your number?
772-410-5820.
Give us a call. We're here to help.